All right. Well, welcome to the American special episode of this whatever the hell Speedrun 4 series this is. I know in most time zones it's already going to be July 5th. I apologize for that, at least when this video releases. I mean, technically it's still a July 4th speedrun cuz it's 11:53 PDT. So, technically for me it's still July 4th at the beginning of the run. But yeah. Obviously I've been spending the day with my family. I don't have time to do like a random ass speed run. Oh, yeah, we're gonna have a rusty time here because for no reason at all I just kind of stopped running. I guess I just got kind of burnt out. Especially after like a 6-day PB series, but I'm coming back. The days are gonna be out of order, but I don't really care. But yeah, in case you didn't know, I'm from the United States, which is why I'm very happy that today's July 4th, Independence Day. Damn, isn't it the 249th? I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, next year's gonna be 250. Wow, that's crazy. I don't want to make this video like I'm just celebrating America. I'm not like I don't want to make it political. I'm not gonna tell you what my political opinions are, but I don't want to make it political. I don't want that vibe here. Well, my foremost political point is that I fucking hate politics. So there's your starter right there. But yeah, honestly, I feel really blessed to live in America. I think we're definitely. I'm not gonna like go on to that like we're the best country. Like no, obviously there's no such thing as like a best country, but I think we're a very good country compared to a lot of other ones in the world because we have like we have a government that is it's not it can reform, but it's not too easy to reform if that makes sense. Like with our how our constitution works and the amendment system, it's like it's possible to obtain necessary reforms, but at the same time it's also difficult for unnecessary reforms to make it in. Yeah. I've also really found it interesting the diversity of the nation. Just because America is such a big nation compared to others, as well as the fact that it's divided into 50 states, which are essentially like their own countries. And so many of you travel around the country, and I've seen a lot of cultural distances, or differences, even just between individual states. I think that's a really interesting and cool thing as well. Not a lot of countries have are big enough to even have that much diversity. See if I can still do this. Oh yeah, cool. Uh oh, I jumped off too early. I'm not too bad. Oh boy, that might not be good. Oh, perfect. It worked out. Yeah. A lot of things. One thing I study history, like not to an insane degree, but I study it, and our government hasn't been like obviously no government is, but our government hasn't been the best government historically. But I think we've always been even since like early even the early 20th century, we've been at least a decent government. Yeah, along with the British, we were able to kick the Nazis. Am I allowed to say Nazi? I don't give a shit. I'll say it. We kicked them out of Western Europe, and then we allowed those Western Europe, like France, Belgium, and Netherlands, to become democracies again. Even West Germany, and we were able to luckily stop the Soviets from gaining any land beyond like the Balkans. Or no, Yugoslavia was more independent, and probably more like Eastern Europe, like Czechoslovakia, Poland, and East Germany. And of course, infamously, how the Soviets had to build a giant ass wall just to keep their people from leaving and deflecting to Western Europe, which, if nothing else, shows off how much better our country was. Or honestly, probably how much better off it still is from a lot of other places with just worse or incompetent governments. Like, if I could pick between our current system, which is like a capitalism centered democracy, and the endeavor to start like a super state of like a communist or even just like racist supremacist utopia, I would pick our current system because nothing else I feel works more efficiently for the people than democracy. And even the Republican form of democracy, not the party. I mean, how a republic works. Because America is technically not a democracy; we're more of a republic, or we are a republic. Damn, my mic's bad. Yeah, America is a republic, and I like that form of democracy. I think it's more beneficial. One of my favorite things, again, drawing back to how our government is amendable, is the amount of like reformers in history. Because like you can focus on the bad, sure, and it's important to talk about the bad, like things like slavery that occurred. But it's also important to talk about the good things and the people that stood up to reform and advocated for reforming these types of things. Like, sorry if I get some of these names wrong. I'm pretty sure like the guy wasn't his name like Frederick Douglass, I believe, who was like one of the first former black slaves who appealed to the Supreme Court in an endeavor to make it legalized that any escaped slave would become free. I probably have that wrong, but yeah, reformers like those people, as well as those who advocated for the good of the American people, even in spite of what the government was doing. Those like John Brown, Harriet Tubman, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Those people are also really respectful figures for the fact that they took on a powerful and, in many cases, oppressive government just for the betterment of the American people, the oppressed American people. I think it's important that we hold these values close, especially in these dire times where it seems like more and more politicians are just filing for bills that only improve their own lives and not for the American people. And on both sides, really, not just one or the other. It's important to retain that First Amendment given freedom to criticize the government when it's blatantly doing something wrong. And not many people really do that outside of like stupid Twitter debates, which don't go anywhere. Oh shit. I think it's also really important, well, it is, to respect the veterans, the men and women, and unfortunately sometimes children too, who have fought directly against opposing countries to retain this country's freedoms. Even in more modern wars, where we're not explicitly fighting for the freedom of America, I think there's still importance to be had in those people. We're either fighting for the liberation of others or for, yeah, pretty much. Because like even in past wars, honestly, the majority of wars haven't been like putting America directly at stake. I'd say the only ones were the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, and if you want to make a stretch, World War II. Just because if Hitler won World War II, Europe probably, well, Europe would have fallen, and then North America probably could have been attacked as well. Well, I mean, yeah, they could have also made an atomic bomb. One thing I also really love is the fact that how our country and economy is set up is that the most innovative people tend to be the ones who succeed the most, which I think follows through with that whole aspect. I know it's mostly a dead aspect now. God damn it. It's mostly a dead aspect with the American dream idea, though, and rising above to be more successful than your parents. But, you know, even if we maybe don't have those systems in place yet to stop those innovators from getting ungodly amounts of wealth, like Elon Musk's fucking 500 billion net worth or whatever the hell. But even then, still, like, it's just the innovative people who jump on the trends earlier are the ones who succeed the most. And in my opinion, that's a pretty damn good economy. Better than most authoritarian regimes, which just force people to do shit for nothing. Good thing I clutched up there. It's kind of ironic too. The Nazis were on their way to developing an atomic bomb similar to ours, but ironically, Hitler had too many bright minds murdered, and so they didn't get it. Honestly, I'd say just even to, I mean, I know I don't really like being like a kids channel and whatever, but I mean, it's attracting kids, so whatever. The one thing I'd really just say is like, just try to keep the fact that you're an American, just try to vote and advocate for the freedom of speech, for people to be allowed to voice both what they feel is right and what is wrong with this nation and this nation's government, because that is something very important and is not nearly as common in the world as it should be. The only places it is really there is mostly here, Canada, maybe Mexico, other Hispanic countries, and most European nations. But outside of there, it's not really tolerated. I'd say Japan, Oceania, Taiwan, if you count that as well. But Yeah, in most places, it's not tolerated, or you'll receive like extreme backlash from the media and your own fellow citizens for just criticizing the government. I say that is it's more important than preserving the American culture or you know preserving guns or yeah. That's the most important aspect of the government is the fact that we have the right to advocate for things that we want to advocate for. Found this new skip here as well. Pretty cool. I don't know if I've used it yet. I don't think I have in a run. Well, we're already at the end. Wow. Kind of just been blindly talking about things I like. Well, those are just some things I'm proud for as an American citizen, and I hope I can see my country continue to grow and continue to honor those who serve for it and continue to serve now. And yeah, so regardless if you're an American or not, somebody else just popping by, I guess happy Fourth. Let's hope for I guess 250 more years of excellence and just overall improvement. I think we're in a far better place now than we have been in a lot of historical circumstances. I mean, even in like what many consider to be like the golden age, like if you think about it, even times in like the 60s, 70s, or 80s, there's been a lot of people who were oppressed then that aren't now. And that's because of a lot of changing attitudes that have been prevalent recently. And I think that's a good thing. Even challenging the status quo, it's always a good thing to do to make sure that we really are making life the best we possibly could for everyone possible. And yeah, I think America's system allows us to do that in one of the best possible ways. And I'm proud to be an American, and I'm very grateful every day that I was born as an American citizen. Yep, that's all I really wanted to say here. All right, see y'all whenever the hell I post again.